You know, every now and then, a piece of software comes along that is just so good, so revolutionary, that one of the giants has to step in and just buy it. Well, that is the story of FoxPro. It was ridiculously fast, it was simple to use, and it totally changed the game for developers back in the late 80s and 90s. So let's dive in. This quote right here, it just nails it. Ran fast, coded clean, and helped launch Microsoft's dominance. We're going to break down each of those things, because this isn't just a trip down memory lane about some forgotten database. No, this is a story about how pure, unadulterated speed can disrupt an entire market and lay the groundwork for a tech empire. So to really get why FoxPro was such a massive deal, you got to picture the world it was born into, the late 1980s. When it came to databases, the landscape was pretty much a kingdom with one single ruler. And let's just say that king, well, he was powerful, but he had some serious flaws. And that king's name was DBase. It was the standard, no question. But if you were a developer actually working with it, it was a total drag. We're talking slow, clunky, and developers were absolutely desperate for a better way to get their work done. And then along comes the contender. Fox Software pretty much looked at every single thing that drove developers crazy about DBase and said, hold on, we can do way better. Was DBase slow? FoxPro was lightning fast. Was DBase limiting? FoxPro was empowering. And here's the kicker. A huge reason for this was a fundamental difference. FoxPro was compiled, not interpreted. That alone gave it a massive, massive speed advantage right out of the gate. All right, so what exactly was under the hood of this thing? What made this contender tick? Let's take a closer look at the anatomy of this absolute speedster. At its heart, FoxPro was what we call a relational database system. Now, don't let the fancy term fool you. Just think of it like a set of superpowered spreadsheets that could all talk to each other. It was a really smart and incredibly efficient way to organize complex data. But here's the thing that made it truly special. It wasn't just a database. It was the whole package, a complete toolkit. You got its own programming language, super fast indexing, and all the tools you'd need to build real working applications, forms, reports, the whole shebang. It was like getting the engine and the entire car factory all in one box. And get this, in an age where software was notoriously stubborn about where it would run, FoxPro was a world traveler. You could build something and run it on DOS, Windows, a Mac, even Unix. This whole build once, run anywhere idea, it was an absolute game changer back then. Okay, we keep coming back to speed, right? But how did FoxPro actually do it? This wasn't magic. It was some seriously clever engineering. This was the secret sauce. It all began with a really intelligent file structure. The best way to think about it is like a library. The main data, the DBF files, those are the books. The indexes, the CDX files, that's your card catalog, letting you find any book on any shelf instantly. And the memo fields, the FPT files, those were like detailed notes or appendices attached to the books. Keeping these things separate made the whole system incredibly efficient. And here it is, the real magic ingredient, a technology they called Rushmore. So imagine you're looking for one specific sentence in a library with millions of books. Instead of reading every single page of every book, Rushmore would instantly scan all the card catalogs, figure out the perfect combination to pinpoint the exact book and page, and just go straight there. It was a revolutionary approach that made finding data feel, well, instantaneous. Now, with that kind of incredible performance, FoxPro wasn't going to stay a niche tool for long. It went from being this secret weapon loved by developers to a true industry powerhouse. And that is when a certain company up in Redmond, Washington, started paying very, very close attention. And look, this wasn't just for little hobby projects. FoxPro became the engine behind serious, mission-critical applications. We're talking about the accounting systems that ran entire businesses, the inventory systems that tracked global supply chains, even the databases that managed student records and government data. FoxPro was everywhere. Which brings us to this pivotal year. 1992, Microsoft, realizing they had a major competitor that was frankly outperforming their own stuff, made a classic business move. If you can't beat 'em, buy 'em. They acquired Fox Software, and with that one signature, the entire future of desktop databases was changed forever. Now, this is where the story gets really interesting. Microsoft didn't just buy FoxPro to bury it. They actually evolved it, turning it into Visual FoxPro. But even more importantly, the DNA of FoxPro, especially that brilliant Rushmore technology, got infused directly into their flagship product, SQL Server. The spirit of the Fox lived on. So, why are we talking about a piece of software from decades ago? I mean, really, why does it matter? Because FoxPro's legacy isn't just about some old code. It's about a fundamental shift in what we all thought was possible with a personal computer. This right here, this is the heart of the story. Before FoxPro, if you wanted a really serious database application, you needed a mainframe, a big iron machine. Desktop databases were kind of seen as toys. FoxPro completely shattered that idea. It proved once and for all that you could build incredibly powerful professional-grade applications right on the computer sitting on your desk. So, what's the final takeaway on FoxPro? It was the high-speed demon that roared onto the scene in 1989, became the absolute favorite of developers, and was so good that Microsoft just had to have it. It wasn't just fast, it was foundational.
So, I'll leave you with this. I'm really curious. Did you ever get your hands on FoxPro and build something with it? Or maybe you stumbled across a dusty old .dbf file on a forgotten hard drive somewhere. Let us know. We would love to hear your FoxPro stories. Thanks for digging into this piece of history with us.